You're listening to the Business and Life Podcast, where 7 days a week, proven entrepreneurs share their success stories, failures, and give you true value on how you can build a great business and an awesome life. With your host, Mike Olivas.
What's happening, guys, and welcome back. Today I'm chatting with Aaron Young, a serial entrepreneur. Aaron Young has been involved in starting and buying, selling numerous multi-million-dollar companies. And in 2001, he purchased Laughlin Associates, a leader in the incorporation industry since 1972. As chairman of the board of Laughlin Associates, Aaron has worked with over 200,000 businesses across all industries and markets. Aaron, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Thanks for being on board here. So tell our listeners something interesting maybe about yourself and also where you're calling in from today.
I'm calling in from Portland, Oregon. I actually live on a farm in Southwest Washington, but we're having a little family get together with our best friends. Actually,
cool.
You've heard of WebMD?
Yeah.
So this is the home of the founder of one of the three founders.
Very cool.
He's been my best friend since we were 14. So I heard all about that from concept through when they went public.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
So anyway, our families are close, and we're having a little two-family get-together tonight. So that's what I'm doing, Mike. And you said a little bit about me. I'm a lifetime entrepreneur. I started my first company with a payroll with employees when I was just before my 19th birthday, and built close to 24 multi-million-dollar companies that have employed people over the long haul. People right now mostly know me for a company called Laughlin Associates, which is one of the largest incorporators in the United States. So we form many tens of thousands of corporations and do corporate compliance work and education and help people all the way from the beginning through very complex companies so they can protect their assets and hold on to the money that.
Oh, very cool. Okay. And so your current company, the Unshackled Owner, is that right?
So Unshackled Owner is a different thing. Unshackled Owner.
I want to hear about that. Yeah.
So many people have come to me over the years and hired me from big companies, P&G, and I mean, I could start listing names. Let's not worry about that. The point is, a lot of companies have hired me over the years to come in and help them solve some kind of a C-suite kind of problem.
Sure.
And because I've been hired by law firms and exit planning firms to help them figure out, how do we get this thing from being privately owned to being able to sell it or pass it on to the next generation. And I did that a bunch of times. I got paid a lot of money. It was never my primary business. It was just somebody, they knew that I had started all these companies and that I didn't really ever go to work. Like Laughlin, I haven't even been there for 3.5 years. I haven't walked in the door of the company. And yet we do many, many millions of dollars. We have tens and tens of almost 50,000 clients.
Yeah.
But I don't work there. I own it, right?
Right.
When I bought it, I worked there all the time until I got it working right.
Right.
And then I didn't have to be there anymore. So Unshackled Owner was simply my recipe, my formula that I've used over 30, I hate to say this, dang it, like 36 years, almost 37 years of taking a broken business or starting something from scratch and building it up in such a way that I'm not the most critical employee, but that we build teams and systems, even in a small company, so that the owner there's not a line of people outside the owner's door going, can I just get 5 minutes? Which is a big problem in a company. Even if you only have 7 or 8 people, it becomes a problem. But we've had clients as small as 3 employees and as large as 2,000 plus employees go through the Unshackled Owner class. And we've had hundreds of companies that'll go through, and everybody has the same response, which is, dang, I wish I would have known this 20 years ago or 5 years ago, whenever they started. So that's what Unshackled Owner is, simply my formula for how to organize a business so it becomes an asset, a glorified job.
So talk about the class. You mentioned the class. So if there's listeners right now that are intrigued, then you mentioned, I wish I would have known this. What is this?
That's a good question. The class is 7 modules and a review. The modules, if you want, I can just give you without a long
That'd be great.
So let me preface by saying this. Most people that start a business do it because they think they're good at doing something. Like, I'm a good auto repair, or I can code, or I know how to do social media, or whatever. Or they've been damaged, they've been hurt in some way. And then they normally want to start a nonprofit. They were sexually abused, they were beaten, they were poor, they were homeless, they were a wounded warrior, and then they want to do something. But in either case, people start out because they feel like, oh, I could do this myself. I could go out and, or I can buy a franchise and sort of self-direct my IRA into a franchise, because then somebody else will have checked all the boxes. I don't have to know everything. And virtually all these companies end up pretty quickly often hitting a ceiling, because it can never go further than their own knowledge, their own cleverness, their own experience. Also, most people are just trying to make money. They're trying to make a living. I need to pay my mortgage or my rent. I want to go to Bali, and I want to, go out to dinner, and I want to buy better clothes, or whatever they want, right? So every month is spent trying to chase money. My belief is, if you chase money, money runs away. So versus inviting money to come to you, which is what I've learned how to do over all these decades. So the class is this. Class number 1 is about getting very clear on the outcome from this project. So what's the finish line? What defines success, right? How do you know when you're successful, right? So first we have to get clear on what the vision is. Where are we going? The second module is sort of 2 parts. It's, now that you know where you're going, let's take a hard look in the mirror and get clear on what you're great at and what you suck at. And whatever you're great at, and wherever you're weak, you need to hire people to sort of augment your strengths with their strengths. You want to surround yourself with people who play at the things you have to work at. So in class number 2, we talk about what are you great at and where are you weak. And then I ask them to create an organizational chart. And I have a very specific way we do this in our companies. Chart isn't looking at where we are or historically who we are. It's saying, in order to get to the vision, what do we guess the company will have to look like at that point?
Yeah.
And even though we don't have all these players yet, these specific team members yet, if it was a football team, we know we need a quarterback, we know we need a center, or lineman, a running back, a receiver, and so on. So we put all that in the org chart, and that becomes a guide to who we should hire next as we grow.
I like this. So you're saying you reverse engineer the org chart based off of the outcome, right?
Yeah, I've got a guy who handles mergers and acquisitions for government contracts at Boeing, who went through the class. So this is a high-level executive.
Yeah.
And he said, Aaron, high school, undergrad, graduate school, and Boeing, no one's ever taught me how to build an org chart the way you taught me how to build it. And it makes so much more sense for our mergers and acquisitions.
Awesome.
First, I've spent my career doing mergers and acquisitions.
Yeah.
So it made sense. So anyway, week number 2 is figure out what is the company going to have to look like and what role will I play and what people do I need to hire. Week number 3 is about a specific way that I use to create job descriptions. So we're hiring for outcomes, not just for like sales or marketing or whatever. We're hiring, these people become an extension of the founder, of the owner. Exactly do I need you to accomplish if you're working for me? And how do we create that into a job description that takes away any ambiguity? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Week 4 is building scoreboards now for those people. So they know what they're being measured on, and they're telling their management, what are they going to do this week? Specifically, 3 or 4 items, massively important outcomes. So number 5 is building an intentional corporate culture. Because no matter what, if you have 2 people or more, a culture will be created. So it's only a matter of, are you going to let it happen organically and maybe be a big problem, or are you going to make it representative of your values, your goals, what the company's created for, and where you want to go. If you do it intentionally, then people will begin to rally. It'll also attract the right people and repel the wrong people.
I love that.
But you need to be specific and intentional, and they need to know what it is. You need to have a clear mission. People write these very long mission statements. I believe a mission statement is 1 or 2 sentences. Our mission at Laughlin our mission statement is we are fortress builders. We build a fortress around our clients' personal and business assets. So whether you're the receptionist, the mailroom, sales, customer service, marketing, CFO, accounts receivable clerk, it doesn't matter. Everybody knows what we do at this company. The vendors know and the clients know. This is what our mission is, why we exist. So that's culture. Week number 6, we talk about understanding your profit and loss statement, which you need at least 2, a balance sheet, and a statement of cash flow. So many small businesses, even if they're doing $3-4 million a year, they may have a P&L. They probably look at the top line and the bottom line, and they don't understand that all the wealth is on the lines in the middle. All the little micro tweaks happen in between the top and the bottom line.
Right.
And if you can make little adjustments in there, 3% better, 1% better, slow down our accounts payable, speed up our receivables, all of a sudden it
huge difference.
had exponential growth at the bottom.
Yep.
But most people don't know how to read a P&L. They don't understand about a chart of accounts. They have no clue about a balance sheet whatsoever. And they've never even heard of a statement of cash flow.
Yep.
And the statement of cash flow is what gives you, it's a crystal ball to look into the future to anticipate ups and downs. So most people don't know that. So that's week number 6. Number 7 is all about powering your management team, being able to start stepping back in a more Zen-like way, an unemotional, factual way, and looking at what's going on with this business, with what's going on in your industry, with what your prospects are, unemotionally, so you can make great choices, and you start to move into this chairman of the board role versus CEO role. And the chairman of the board's job is to set direction, right? Directors. What's the direction of the company? And you're not down in the weeds anymore doing the day-to-day. You're now up higher where you have a better vantage point of how to guide and direct the company. So we've had over 300 companies go through the class. First of all, nobody's ever wanted a refund, ever. I've gotten boatloads of referrals because it absolutely works. And here's the thing. I know that people cannot possibly learn and implement these things in 7 or 8 weeks. We do it just the same way. We do it over Zoom. So I have people from all over the world that come onto those calls on Wednesday mornings. And when you join the class, you can just keep attending the class for as long as I teach it. So we're coming up on 4 years now that I've been teaching it. And I have people from that first and second class, hedge fund managers, new car dealership owners, and so on, management of law. I can just go on. I've got a crazy group of people. But the point is, they still come back. And they don't pay anymore to come back. Because my goal isn't just to collect the tuition. My goal is to get them from where they are to where they wanted to be and to get these pieces in place. And the more they implement what I teach them, the more sophisticated their questions are next time around. Does that make sense? Because they're living it.
Absolutely. Is there a support line there, Aaron, in terms of, I think that implementation and online classes and all the things that are happening today are great. And I think it's awesome because it's allowing more entrepreneurship. I see it from doing like 22 podcasts, today, but 7-day-a-week podcasts. I hear and see a lot of stories, and half the battle is the implementation, I think, and half of it is the education, or even more. But a lot of people know a lot of things and don't implement them, right? And so is there a support line there, or is it just more of a, here's the information, now let's talk about how to implement it?
So I'm not a consultant.
Right. A hands-on, correct.
I have people on my team that can do continuity coaching. I don't really promote it. I wait for people to ask for it because it's not my primary business.
Right.
But I do have people who actually are excellent at doing some of the bigger companies that we go into. I'll grab somebody like my buddy whose office I'm sitting, his home office I'm in, who's raised over $100 million in equity capital, who's taken several companies public. He's hedge fund manager, all this. If the right company needs somebody like that, I'll take him and do a contract. I'll take a little piece of it, but that's not my business.
Right. Right.
The other thing you don't know about me is I have a company, and our goal is to take 10 companies public per year. And so it's not like I don't do anything, but I don't work very much. I've worked my butt off in years past.
Yeah.
I'm at a place in my life now where I can teach and I can invest and I can deal with bigger problems that make a much bigger ripple. The reason I wanted to teach Unshackled Owner was because so many companies, successful companies that were over 100 million in revenue. I've got a client right now in the class over 200 million in revenue, and he's like, "Why the hell didn't I know this?" You know, and that's comforting to me, but it also tells me if I can help him, and he has hundreds of employees, if I can help him be more effective leader, more efficiently run company, can have bandwidth to do more things, hire more people, buy more health insurance for those people, invest money in other companies, give money to the Little League or the Red Cross. You know, if I can help him, the ripple is much bigger than if I try to do one-on-one coaching.
Yeah, it's not as scalable from an impact standpoint. No. Absolutely.
And I love coaches. My wife is a wildly successful $250,000 a year coach. She's amazing. But if she doesn't talk to you, there's no, right? It's completely transactional one-to-one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And her clients are fabulous and she's happy. For me, that's not what floats my boat. I like to build companies, hire more people, solve problems, help our clients, stay in business for a long time. I'm all about longevity. Yeah. My best friend, I'm 55. We've been best friends since we were 14. I've been married 33 years. I've had the same business partner for 22 years. I mean, firm for over 30 years. I believe in long-term success, not quick gun and go, I'm going to make some money and then disappear.
Right.
That's not how I function.
What's happening, Life Nation? Michael Levis here. This is a time to do the right thing, not the profitable thing. I'm giving away COVID-19 business strategy sessions for free. I promise to give you my honest advice and coach you on a strategy that I feel would be best for the longevity of your business. I'm not asking you for your money, but in the interest of being able to help as many people as I can, I am asking you to be ready with your 1 to 2 specific questions so we can jump right into it. Go to michaellevis.com/coaching and simply schedule a call on my calendar. That's MIKEOLIVAS.com/coaching. Absolutely. And I think that's a great way to think about it, because there's too many get quick solutions out there that are simply not going to, have the true 10 years to take an overnight success into reality. Even then, 10 years is an early game, right? So give me a time where you felt you've hit rock bottom and or close to it, Aaron, and how to overcome that. And I know there's going to be about 1,000 times, but give me one that you feel.
Two giant ones.
Okay, good. Give me 1 or 2 of those giant ones. That'd be great. Thank you. Because I saw you smile. If you're watching this, I asked that question and I got a big grin. But yeah, you already know which one.
All right, I'll give you two. I'll give you two quickly.
Thank you.
One was my second company. So I started my first company, which was a recycling business, which we built it up to about 5,000 monthly clients, and I sold it. Mostly because I'd met this cute to get married, and I didn't think she'd want to be married to basically a garbage man. So I was 24, 25 when I sold that company. And this was back in 1986. I became one of the very first cellular phone dealers in the Northwest. And we built that up to multiple stores, 25 salespeople, all the support staff, a big installation center, all this stuff. Then in one meeting with our carrier, so now, that was Sprint or whatever. Back then it was GT and MobileNet. And GT and MobileNet brought all the agents in one day and said, effective immediately, this meeting, we're changing your commission structure, we're changing your co-op advertising, we're changing how fast we pay, we're changing prices on equipment, we're just changing everything. All the older guys than me, virtually every single one of them, went home and closed up shop. But I was 26 years old, 27, maybe I was 27 at that point. I thought I was one of the bigger ones. I was on news all the time. I was in the newspaper. I was on commercials. I was this cool. I'd moved in my second house that we bought. My wife drove a brand new Jeep Cherokee Laredo. I was kicking ass for a kid, right? So I thought, well, I'll figure it out. I'll sort this out. So, but everything imploded and all these big box stores were getting involved. They had big budgets and they were giving phones away for free. We were selling phones for $3,000. So pretty soon cash flow slowed down. So I had to use my credit lines. Then I used my company credit card. Then I used my personal credit lines. Then I mortgaged my house. And pretty soon I was hundreds of thousands of dollars upside down with no way in the world out. And at 28 years old, with my wife, pregnant with our second baby, we were sitting in bankruptcy court. And we went from having everything going for us, for being flat on our butts broke, and now bankruptcy on our record. That was a bad one.
Yeah.
What I learned was I wasn't smarter than the market. The market was smarter than me. And no matter how clever I thought I was, the market was going to control, not Aaron Young. That was one. The good news is, by being out of business and kind of scrounging around for about 18 months trying to figure out what to do, I got invited to lunch one day with a guy that I knew had a nice new white Suburban and a big boat. That's what I knew about him. He takes me to lunch and he says, would you even be interested in ever working for somebody else? And I said, I don't know. I've never worked for anybody else. What did you have in mind? And he offered me the job, vice president of sales for a 350 office multinational NASDAQ company. Vice president of sales. Jeez. One of the 3 vice presidents of the company. So at 29 years old, I was sitting in a corner office running sales for 350 offices around the world, making stock and stock options as well as my salary. And in retrospect, why the heck they let a 29-year-old be in charge blows my mind. But that was the launch pad to everything else, because I stayed there 3 years, made a lot of money in the stock, started doing other business, started buying companies and so on. Yeah. Everything was going great until the day that the IRS and the FBI did a raid on my office in 2002. Somebody said, I got a call from a neighbor up in the U.S. Bank Tower. We had the 26th floor of the U.S. Bank Tower. They said, Aaron, I was at my beach house. I called the office and special agent in charge answers. And I said, what's the matter? They said, we're exercising a search warrant about one of your clients. And I said, well, is this about me or my business? They said, nope, just anything about this guy and his companies. And I said, okay, do I need to come in? They said, no, we've sent your employees home. We're going to take what we can find and leave. And I'm like, okay. Oh, but we need the combination to your safe. Well, I don't want to give you the combination to my safe. They said, that's fine. We'll just drill the safe then. Well, I had about something less than $500,000 of gold and silver in the safe. This was not too long after Y2K. Uh-oh. And everybody had kind of prepped for an economic collapse. So I had all this gold and silver in the safe. So I said, okay, I'll come down. Give me 2 hours to drive in. I go in. I'm there while they inventory the gold and silver. They didn't care about that. They're really not. Some questions about the guy. And I'd stopped working with him 2 years before because I thought he was kind of a little slippery. Yeah. And they asked me some questions. Do you recognize his logo, his signature, this person's name? Yeah, that's his GM. Thank you, Mr. Young. This is really helpful. It's been a really challenging case. 4 months later, that was December 27th, April 24th, I get indicted on conspiracy, criminal conspiracy. I knew or should have known what he apparently up to or theoretically up to. We thought, that's stupid. How can I be in trouble for somebody in another company what they did. And they told me, we don't necessarily believe you knew it, but you materially assisted. I thought that is BS.
Yeah.
And we went to war, and we spent about $2 million in legal fees fighting that, and finally came to the realization after 3.5 years of what we were told up front, which is the IRS has a 99% conviction rate.
Jeez.
And if I go to court and get convicted of even one thing, 12 to 15 years in prison.
Yeah.
So I said, that's insanity. We'll do a plea bargain. And I found something very inane. As a matter of fact, my lawyer said they'll never take that. Guess what? They took it.
Yeah.
And thankfully, the judge cut the sentence down, but I still spent 18 months and a week in federal prison.
Yep.
That's a low point.
Yeah.
Here's the high point, going back to what you first asked about Unshackled Owner. When you build a business that is run properly, that has the right team and the right systems, it'll operate when you're not there.
Right.
So the company not only operated the whole time I was gone, and my business partner also gone, but my take-home pay that year was $974,000.
Yeah.
So even when I couldn't look at one email, take one phone call, have one meeting, I still made almost $1 million take home.
Yeah.
Not in the company, to my household.
Right.
Because it was set up properly.
Right. That's
and
awesome.
In retrospect, as horrible as that experience was,
Sure.
It was a phenomenal case study in does the Unshackled Owner system work?
Oh no, I was going to tell you, just a great story. That's a great story, and I appreciate you sharing it. But I know that it probably brings back some terrible situations. But when it comes down to the understanding of what you've been able to build and the proof in the pudding situation, if you will, it's amazing. Like that, and so that's and obviously props on the story and the Unshackled Owner and the actual living the experience of legitimately being able to not only step away, but not having the option to step in.
Hauled away.
Hauled away, yeah. Not even being able to have the option to step in. Like you said, not one email. There's no phone calls. There's the letters here and there, but still from that profitability
you can't do any
standpoint.
business. You can't.
No, you can't do any business.
You can't do business. You can't write instructions to anybody. You can't do any of that. You can't look at reports. None of that. Can't do it.
Nope.
So they tell me that going to minimum security prison for every year you're there adds 2 years to your life, because you're terribly stressed at first, but then once you get there, you go, well, I can't do anything. Exercise every single day. I'm not eating very much, and I just can't. I can't fix anything, so I just have to let it go. It's amazing when you let that stuff go, how much it sucked to be there, but I got in great physical shape. I wrote a book. I taught GED classes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a wild. That's been 13 years ago now. So
yeah. Well, and out of all of your successes and failures, what's the one piece of parting advice that you'd give to current and aspiring entrepreneurs out there listening today?
First thing is mind your important relationships. So I was on Entrepreneur on Fire. I've been on there a couple times, and John asked me, "What's your success hack?" I said, "I take my wife on a romantic date every week. I plan a date." And he said, "Nobody's ever said that." I said, "When my marriage, which is now 33 years, when my marriage is all happy and working, which is most all the time, but when it's working, I can focus on anything. I can conquer any giant. But when that relationship is uneasy, it's off balance a little bit, all I can think about is that." And so if you mind your family or your critical friendships, that will give you a lot of help. The other thing is not everybody's cut out to be an entrepreneur. I've probably talked to as many people that were entrepreneurs and said, "I think you should close this down and go do this, and you'll have more money, more time, more happiness." I've also told people that were working, if you quit your job and you can't pay your rent at the end of the month, call me up and I'll help you for a couple months, because you need to be doing this. And without exception, exploded and been very successful. But it's trendy and cool and fun, or People think they should be able to do certain things. Entrepreneurs see the world in a way that others don't see it. And the people that love you the most will try to steer you away from the vision that you have that they just can't see. So it's a lonely place. So you have to be prepared for that if you're going to go down that road. And you have to know that right at the moment of your worst, lowest spot is when the door opens up. I was bankrupt when the public company offered me a job. The number one paid speech I give, $25,000 a speech, is called Things I Wish I Had Known Before I Went to Federal Prison. So that was a bad situation, but you know what? You get through that and the big players go, oh, your marriage stayed intact, your business stayed intact, you're still here. That you to a whole new level when you can overcome a serious challenge and land on your feet. And you'll get invited to bigger parties that were never available to you before. So guys, put in the hard work and don't jump the line. If you jump the line and make some money for a little bit and you think you're so damn smart, even if I can't tell you how many public companies I know where they've come up with something, the founder goes in, they go public or they sell somebody else, the person walks away with $20 million and they spend the rest of their life frustrated because they never recreate that. And you know why? They don't know why it happened in the first place.
Yeah.
They were lucky. It happened, right place, right time. They didn't know what, and because they jumped the line, they never learned why things work. And in Unshackle, the reason I've done this in so many industries, same system, is because the system works. When you know how to do something, you can do it over and over and over and over again and get similar results. But if you don't know, you're going to get depressed really fast.
Yeah.
Because you're going to wonder what the hell just happened. And that's, I don't know if that was very good. Oh, I'll give you one other positive thing to do. There's a little book called The Science of Getting Rich. It was written in like 1910. Wallace, The Science of Getting Rich. Go read that little book. It's kind of hard to read. It's written in a weird kind of cadence, but read it. It will change your life. Almost everybody that's at the $1 billion level that I know knows that book intimately. Most small companies have never heard of it.
Awesome. Okay. I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll definitely we'll put that in the show notes and get a link out there for this, The Science of Getting Rich. And Aaron, where can people find you?
To me, if you want. You can write to Aaron. You can write to me at this address, Aaron Young at Laughlin, LAUGHLIN USA.com. Aaron Young at LaughlinUSA.com.
And is there a site for the Unshakable or the Unshackled owner? I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you go to Aaron Scott Young, just like you see in the lower third up here, AaronScottYoung.com, and click on programs, you see a whole page about Unshackled Owner. And I'll tell you, can I make a free offer right here?
Please.
I do a thing twice a month called the Freedom Call. We charge for it $500 a year, but when I get with entrepreneur groups like this, I give it away. And if people go 7979 text 79797 797979 and put in the words Freedom Call, you'll get a little thing that will allow you to start joining it. And what I do on the Freedom Call is I'm sitting at board meetings and with interesting people all the time. On the Freedom Call, I try to take the best stuff I've heard in the last couple of weeks and pass it on to the entrepreneurs that are on the call. Awesome.
That's a very cool offer, and I hope you guys take advantage of that. 79797.
There's no pitching, nothing, just information.
Just value. I love it, and that's what we try to give to the listeners. Thanks so much, Aaron. I appreciate your time and all of the value bombs that you kind of dropped on us today. Life Nation, you've got to remember that in order for things to change, you must change. And in order for things to get better, you must get better. You just got better by hanging out with me, Michael Leibus, and the Business and Life Nation. So come back tomorrow because I'm here dropping sound bombs 7 days a week, baby. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so you can take action and execute. See you tomorrow.